I've had one for almost 10 years, maybe 10 years now actually. Look at, those are all just photos of people using my photo in dating apps. I'm making most of my money being myself as my own brand. That was a way better play, and since I've done that, I've grown my following double. Had my biggest success last year. I'd just be refreshing emails. I'm like, what am I doing? I had to get into the mindset of creating and becoming a full-time creator. All my products I have, which I didn't even realize how much profit I could make with all the inventory I have, I would bet that you will get a brand deal in 3 months or less. I want to give a huge shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and also creating an amazing all-in-one platform that's helping me grow and launch my brand. All right, back with episode 2 of If I Had a Podcast. Now I don't, but if I did, today I would talk about AI, because AI is totally changing the way I work, you work, everyone works, and it's just an amazing, amazing tool. Also scary, but amazing. I just want to dive into it because I want to talk about how it works for me and ways I've been using it, because I think it's interesting for all sorts of people from different walks of life, different businesses, everything, to kind of understand how AI can be useful towards them. And first and foremost, before even jumping into this episode, I want to say that this is brought to you by Squarespace. It's been a longtime partner of mine. Squarespace is a great all-in-one platform to take ideas from here and put them out there into the world. Super easy for web design, domain buying, all sorts of things. We'll talk about it more, and they do have a really cool AI capability, and that's why I really like it as part of this episode, because it really fits into what's going on, and it's really helped me build my site. So, quick disclaimer there. This is episode 2 of If I Had a Podcast, which I don't. But if I did, today I would talk about AI. Now, AI is everywhere, whether you realize it or not. It's working behind the scenes. It's coding sites for you that you're using. It's answering questions. It's becoming copywriters. You might be reading just a quick bio on a site, a product bio, anything. People are using this to save so much time, so much money, so much manpower, and really streamline their businesses, help them be more optimized. I'm doing just the same thing, and it's super interesting for me as a creator to be using AI. It's definitely been an absolute game changer. But that being said, where is it all going? And how do we adapt to it? How do we move with the time and not fight it? You know, when AI first came out, or first started being discussed, you know, I read this article about teachers and how they were super scared that AI was writing essays for the kids, and they're gonna have to have software, and how's the learning, and it's gonna ruin education, all these things. My stance on it, and I also read one article that I was already kind of thinking about, but they put out, I don't have reference to it, I wish I did, but again, you just need to adapt with the times. So this article I read was about a teacher who was like, cool, it's going to exist, it's only gonna get better and bigger and stronger, so how do I make it work for me? So have the kids write their essay with AI, so it takes it all out, and then have them come in to discuss it and have a verbal essay on top of it, because you might be able to memorize it, but you're learning it then. So you, again, like adapting with the times is just so important. So that's what I'm trying to do with AI, and learn how it works best for me. It's working for me in so many different ways, which I'm just so excited about, because as a creator, you get stifled sometimes with like writer's block or creator's block, and you're not able to see through the fog so much, and you just get stuck for an hour or two, or you delay things so much because you don't have the right idea. And it's just become such a good tool to use as inspiration and help your creativity flow, not replace it. I think that's where people struggle, is that if they start using it to replace how they think in general, then you're gonna lose the plot completely. So you need to really be involved with AI and understand that it's here to help, to streamline, to make you think more, ask the questions that you normally have to call somebody or pay a consultant to get that info from. It's now just available and readily available for you. So it's really strong, it's really cool. And if you're not using it yet, I mean, I even got my dad on it now. I use ChatGPT predominantly. My dad uses Perplexity. They're all, Grok 3 is out. All these things are out. Just as far as like information and knowledge-based systems, then you have obviously Sora, which, you know, is creating video of tons of, my friend just sent me one that creates music for him, which I'm gonna jump into. I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but all sorts of ways and different platforms you can use. So why talk about it? One, it's just moving really fast, so we need to keep up. It's nice to put light on it just to make sure everyone understands that it is here to stay. Obviously, the higher sources need to control it at some point. I hope that goes into effect, but for a useful tool for ourselves, it's here and you need to lean in. 2, it's not just hype, it's really real, as I just said. So you may hear people talking about it at meals and stuff, and it sounds like, oh, okay, it's real. And if you're not finding multiple ways to use it today, no matter what industry you're in, I personally just think you're falling behind, but again, that's my opinion. And 3, not only is it helping me be a creator and create better content, help me grow my following, my business. 2, it's helping me with Fallis Studios, which we'll talk about. And 3, it is my co-host for this. When I started this, again, if you saw episode 1, I just leaned into ChatGPT. I was like, I have this idea to have a podcast without having a podcast, or a vlogcast without having a vlogcast, just a whole new series on YouTube because I have this following. So I typed everything in, it spit it out. It kind of structured this whole thing for me, and that's why we're here with episode 2. Let's start by talking about the current state of AI and where it's at. Obviously, the current state, by the time you even see this, it'll be a week ahead. So things are moving so quickly, changing dynamically. Keeping up is one thing, being ahead of it, zero chance. Obviously, things way faster than we do. But I think it's just really important to be trying the new things. You get fed them all day. I don't know, on Instagram, I spend time on them because I'm interested in it. So obviously the algorithm changes and sends it to me. So I'm just trying to learn about what's new, talk to people, understand all the things that are coming at us. If you don't know about me, I have a talent agency. I've had one for almost 10 years, maybe 10 years now actually. And started by managing DJs, myself and my wife, then grew it to have some other cool kids in New York that were DJs that I just basically realized that I was giving too much business out. So I get booked 1 or 2 gigs a night. I was working so much. I'd do like an event and then I'd do a club or a restaurant and I'd get double booked. So I'd pass the business to someone and then I realized, wait, I shouldn't be passing it to someone. I should be monetizing that. So I created an agency, we started building up. Manager brought on a partner and we grew this whole agency. But last year, 2 Januaries ago, I realized I'm making most of my money being myself as my own brand and making 1/3 or less of my money, but spending 3/4 of my time managing other talent, but making way less. So I should fall back on my duties as an actual talent manager, let that talent go, which is great, had a great time, built some great businesses. Lean into me because I'm preaching the strategy to all these people all the time, helping them make money, but again, only making 10%. So why not put it into me and make the 90% and pay my partner, who's my manager, the 10%. So that was a way better play. And since I've done that, I've grown my following double. I had my biggest success last year monetarily, which was amazing, which is just proof in the pudding that if I put my mind to it and actually use the strategies I was giving other people, it can work. Now, obviously it takes a lot of time. For the first 2 months almost, I just thought my day was like, I'd just be refreshing emails. I'm like, what am I doing? I had to get into the mindset of creating and becoming a full-time creator and how I can just put the pedal to the metal and use time blocks to create things, strategies, everything. That took me a minute, but then I finally got into it and I've just been fully on it, as you can see, creating a new series here, doing more YouTubes, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, all the things. But it is a lot of work. Obviously I have a family, obviously I have these real estate projects I'm working on, all these other things. So how do I streamline to make myself the most effective during it? And that's when AI came out this past year in a ChatGPT format that really worked. And I started really leaning in. And how did I do that? Let me explain. So I will ask ChatGPT, so you know me and that I'm a creator. Can you please outline how I should use Instagram to build myself a monetizable, not spelled right, doesn't matter, brand using content that relates to my lifestyle as the forefront. Okay, so I'll press return and see what it comes up with. You know, again, it knows me, I've fed it a lot of info. So if you're not really online at the start, you're gonna have to kind of tell it who you want to be. So at the start when I started, I would say, I'm a male influencer, you know, I'm a family man, I dive into real estate, I do aspirational lifestyle, whether it's fashion, alcohol, cars, coffee, blankets, luxury in home, and you know, kind of where I want to be, and frame it all out, and then it would give me a position. So this one is interesting. So giving your brand audience and content style, Instagram strategy, focus on monetizing lifestyle while maintaining authenticity. Authenticity is like number one with all these brands, and just being yourself. Like, you don't really want to be someone else unless you're pushing an acting platform. You want to just be you, and people can feel it's you. So when they meet you, and you can organically talk about yourself all day because it's just who you are. Your pillars and themes that you should focus on, and you should reflect your lifestyle as a product, which that's what I've done. So lifestyle, daily routines, morning rituals, wellness habits, productivity hacks, do that all the time. Home design, Fallis Studios, your home, product recommendations, do that all the time. Travel experiences, do that all the time. Family and fatherhood, correct. And tech and AI integration, here we are. Lays that out, then it says content strategy, you know, how to grow, 4 to 6 reels per week. I try and do 7. Carousels, 2 to 3 a week. I don't do many, I should do more. Stories, do them all day. I actually do 1 chunk of stories each day. It's just too hard to keep up with them all day. Instagram lives, collabs, 1 or 2 a month. That's something I don't do. I've actually never done Instagram live. Actually, I think I did one during COVID or something, but threads, trying to get better at posting over there. Monetization tactics, direct brand partnerships, home and luxury, tech AI, men's grooming and lifestyle. That's correct, that's what I do. Affiliate, Like to Know It, or Amazon. I have Amazon, I use ShopMy, I don't use Like to Know It, but similarly. Correct, exclusive paid community subscriptions. I have a subscription. I probably need a broadcast channel. I don't even have a close friends group. I just share everything with everyone. That's probably something I should work on. Personal brand, product expansion, Fallis Studios growth. I'm so bad at it. I need to focus on Fallis Studios so badly. It's always a nice reminder. Why I designed our backgammon set the way I did. Need to talk about that. Digital offerings, Notion, use it every day. AI prompts, used every day. The Brendan Fallis morning structure guide for $10. There's an idea. Growth hacks, leverage AI and content trends. I do both. Viral hooks, new GC, do that. Guest features, podcast clips. That's why I started this. Again, it's not a podcast, but I can get some clips from it. So hopefully I can use them on social. Then execution, and final thought, our own narrative. You're not just selling products or partnerships, you're selling a curated way of life. Enter my newsletter, Curated. Just another way it's working. So let's refine, execute, and monetize. So this is really cool. That is a prime example of how you use AI to grow your brand. And again, it's like just so obvious to me that you need this in your life. Again, I'm already kind of ahead of that, but if I were to start, I would start like that, and that would give me a good idea of what's going on and how to kind of structure my day and build from there, which I think is an interesting exercise for everyone. Also, just ask ChatGPT, hey, tell me something I don't know about myself. I mean, I'm online quite a bit as me, but I think it knows quite a lot about everyone. Kind of scary. Also, kind of like reading the birthday book where you realize things about yourself that you know, but you don't want to admit. Anyway, that could be a whole other episode in general. Okay, so let's jump back into this. So how do I use it as a tool for me as a creator? I think that's really important to talk about here. So two ways. One, just for UGC, that's user-generated content that's just about me, that's not brand specific, and 2, brand-specific content. So 1, as UGC. A lot of, I'd say 50% of the content right now, I have a list going on my phone. Let me show you. This list on my phone is my IG Reels inspiration list. So this whole thing is just links and ideas that I save all day. Instead of having a saved folder, I do this, and then I reference it, and then I try and like remix it. You know, I saw Mark Ronson's Mark Ronson's TED Talk about, you know, there's such a stigma around like, oh, you're sampling music. Like, is that even original? And it's like, yeah, it's so hard to come up with new things that are like the biggest things, right? So like, to hit something that goes viral that you created is awesome, and it's obviously ideas can come from anywhere and everything, and just like music can come out of your fingers and hands and piano and voice, But like a lot of it is just reference from other things you heard at another time, just like a speech or a recipe you saw, you created your own version of it because you didn't have 2 ingredients, so you made it work for yourself. Similar to content, I use those as references and then I either recreate them as my own or use that as inspiration to do something else. So why does AI work for me in that format? Well, sometimes there'll be an on-screen caption and I'm not like super witty or clever, and I wish I was, I wish I was a comedian, but I'm not. So I use it, hey, can you come up with a cheeky caption that's similar to this, but in my own voice? And it'll give me like 10 options. And I'll be like, cool. I'll see them and I'll be like, that one's pretty close. So I'll take a version of like number 5 and make it my own and put it on the screen. So that's how I use it to help me in UGC. Or I'll be like, hey, going on this trip, can you lay out like 5 options with my wife and family on a family vacation, blah, blah, if I don't have inspiration. It's so easy and it'll reference clips, pull them up, etc. Or if you want to feature a product to sell that you're just making on your own because you want to do affiliates for Amazon or something, it can come up with a ton of ideas. 2, on the brand side of things, which is a whole different conversation, I use it in a very different way. Brands use agencies most of the time, or an internal marketing person, but a lot of the time, a lot of the brand deals come from agencies. So those agencies send a deck, and that deck lays out the whole scope of the work. So it'll always say my name times the brand on the front, and it'll have photos they're pulling from my Instagram, but they build a whole campaign out. Then they have reference photos of other campaigns they've seen and liked that they'd like it to feel like. They have links to other reels that work. Then they have all the do's and don'ts. Don't wear logos, don't do this, don't swear, all the things you know. Then it has some legalities, but the main section that you need in there is what they're looking for in the brief as far as the campaign. So do they want a reel? How long is it going to be? What hashtags are going to be used? Which tags are going to be used? What angle do they want? Do they want it to be like a lifestyle angle? Or do they want it to be more product driven? Or do they want it to be a little more obscure? Do they want it to be super creative? Do they want it to feel grainy, organic, more high polished and finished, cinematic, all these things. I put in ChatGPT, hey, here's what I want to do. You know me, and here's the brand I'm working with, and here's the deck. Can you please lay out a couple options for campaign-driven content from there? And in seconds, instead of what would have taken me 1 to 2 hours to create, it'll give me options, knowing who I am and knowing how my content works. And I can even reference an old video. Hey, they really liked this video I made once. Here's the link. Can you please break down even further how I could do it for this brand this time, using that as a reference, but plugging into everything you read in the creative brief. It'll read the PDF, it'll spit it out, it'll do voiceover lines if you want, it'll do timestamps of clips if you want. And let me tell you, it saves me so much, like probably 3 to 4 hours of work. It gets done in less than 30 seconds originally, and then but maybe I'm in and out of it in 15 minutes, and then I send it to a brand, which I need approval before we shoot anything. 99% of the time, they have to sign off on it. They say that concept looks good. Here's what we change, or here's what we like, and then we can refine it back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But that is like such a game changer for me. It saves so much time. It helps me fill the creative void when I have it. It helps me spark creativity on top of the creativity I already had, which is super important. So just using this as a tool, again, it's not replacing me. It's just knowing who I am, what I'm about, and giving me structure and guidelines to work with. I still gotta go film it. I gotta use my voice. I gotta put my hook on it, my spin, emphasis into certain words, into certain clips. Gotta dress, gotta walk, gotta shoot, gotta choose the angles, be the director. It's not gonna be all the things, but it's just helping me with one heavy lift of that whole scope. It does for me, and then I can riff off that. So that to me has been an absolute time saver, game changer, and AI has totally changed my workflow in 2025 because of that one thing alone. And again, you might not be at the brand deal level yet, but you could literally write in ChatGPT, in 3 months, I want to be getting brand deals. Help me work backwards from that, building my content now as, a mom with 2 kids, as a dad with a son who likes to build fences. It'll build you a whole thing. And whether or not you use it, it'll spark an idea for you. Oh my God, it doesn't know what my yard looks like, or that my fence is only broken half the way, but I can do this, and I can now start featuring nail companies and hammers and tool belts and talk about Makita drills, and it could structure everything for you and tell you how to tag the brands, use hashtags to see more views, blah, blah, blah. And I would bet that you will get a brand deal in 3 months or less. So again, if you stick to the program. But it's just really nice that it can help you out in all those ways. Now, those are big opportunities that I see within AI, and I mean, there's so many more we don't know. A friend of mine, who I was just kind of talking about in the music side, he not only has figured out, he's like a bit more nerdy with it, and I'm gonna sit with him this week and learn a bit more, but he's not only figured out how to create videos, like full deep fakes of himself. He did one of himself skiing, I'll show you. He wasn't skiing, but he had an art show in St. Moritz, but he created a video of himself skiing with his shirt off, looking ripped, and then put his own music over it. And I was like, where'd you get this song? He's like, no, there's a site. You can just type it in and like choose soul funk, and it created a song called Black Man Skiing in St. Moritz. Listen to this, it's insane. Like, listen to it. Like, what? It sounds like a real song, and he just wrote those lyrics, which are hilarious, and put it on top of him skiing shirts. You can use this tool in so many ways, and that was just to promote his art show, and he actually sold 7 of his 8 pieces. So there's so many opportunities no matter what field you're in. I think it's incredible. What's a concern about that? Obviously, that's a deep fake of himself. People could start deep faking me. I can't tell you, if you follow me, you know, but I have a full folder of people who just use, this isn't even deep fakes, this is just people using my profile picture on dating sites. Does anyone else find this new photos app like so hard to look through? Those are all just photos of people using my photo in dating apps, which is insane. So I don't even know how there's no software for that yet, but deepfakes are a big problem. There's obviously fake engagement, bots, but those things already existed. They have full warehouses of people just liking things. They now have liking devices I saw that just like tap your screen for views on TikTok. You can just order one off Amazon. There's all sorts of things. Those aren't gonna go away. It's just, you gotta mitigate your risk. But that's, to me, the same as any industry. And to be scared of engaging with this because of that, people are scared of privacy issues, but then they're just pressing okay to every terms and acknowledgements option on their phone. But then they're like, oh, it's watching me. It's like, you click through all those things, obviously. I don't know, that's a whole huge conversation, but I think we're all in the same boat, so it's kind of got to lean in and make it work for you and monitor it the best you can. It's like parenting. You're gonna not let your kids go outside because you're scared of this and that? No, like, they're gonna get sick, they're gonna get in trouble, you just have to, do your best to mitigate and do your best to be responsible for everything that's existing within your power and hope for the best. That's all we can do. Just to wrap that all up, I don't think AI is replacing our creativity. I think the creative mind still is so important. Does it help you think and grow further than you might have thought? Yes. It's helping me think bigger, and it's getting rid of like the BS I had to focus on here so I can be here. It's like hiring an assistant to do all your tasks during your day so you can focus on like the bigger picture stuff, like an admin assistant. It's like the greatest admin assistant of all time, but it can also like do way more than that. It's so nice. You have spreadsheets, you can read all the spreadsheets, put, for Fallis Studios, I just did a full cost, like product cost analysis of all my products I have, which I didn't even realize how much profit I could make with all the inventory I have, and it like got me so motivated to get back after it. So there's so many ways, and I'm, as you can hear, an optimist. My glass is like really half full, and just realized I could use some water. We love some sparkling. My glass is always half full, so for me, I'm just, again, trying to find ways that can work for me to grow my business and in turn help me succeed in my career. Final thoughts, says my co-host. Again, happily telling you, I am using ChatGPT as my co-host. It is helping me define the script, define the layout for the show, not the script, define the discussion points for these episodes, and we'll see how it goes. And if it's not working, I tell it to change it up. Biggest impact, we've talked about how do I personally use it for my content. We've talked about, 1 second, door buzzer's ringing. That is my wife, because She likes to leave the house without keys. If AI could only solve that. So, just as I was mentioning before, another way that AI has been helping me is through Squarespace. So I talked about it at the start of this video, but Squarespace AI is really powerful tool. It's really helped me take everything in such an easy way and put it out to the world. And that's where I think AI is making it really simple. The tools are now easier than ever to get out, and Squarespace has made that really easy for me. With their AI designer, you can literally just write what you want your website to look like and it'll start spitting out templates. It's amazing. Also, like buying domains. Domain is what defines your business off the start. So you need it. They have the easiest way to buy domains. And from that domain, you can just plug right in to building your site out, which is so nice. Then they have all the templates. Say you don't even have an idea of how you want to use Squarespace AI to kind of structure everything you want on your page. You can just hit templates. There's so much inspiration in there. They also have a full design intelligence studio, which you can lean into, which just to kind of create your whole online presence. Because again, that presence, that's the first stop people go when they get to your new concept. So you want it to feel exactly how you think people should arrive. It's like opening the door to your home. They walk in, this is what you want people to kind of know you as when you get here. They have a payment tool. You can do Apple Pay, ACH payments, Afterpay, ClearPay in the UK, all sorts of different ways to accept the income you need for your services. If you're a service provider, and they have an invoicing software. So they have all sorts of ways you can use their platform at Squarespace to grow. Again, for me, I use it for Fallis Studios, which again, if you haven't checked out, please go check out. If you're new to this channel, that is my brand, which I am growing and working on growing constantly. That's a lifestyle brand for home and just kind of cool lifestyle products from watercrafts, lighters, working on some new stuff coming soon, like maybe some socks, some candles, all sorts of things. That blanket, dop kit, and espresso cups have been the best so far, and coffee in a close fourth position. So check that out if you can. But yes, Squarespace is where all that lives. So anyway, hope you find this interesting or sparks an idea in your head, gets you excited about building something you might be a little overwhelmed or nervous to start, because I think AI really can help you define how to get to where you want to go in a really nice way. It can also inspire you to just even get started. And you now have someone to bounce ideas off of, to strategize with you, to create with you, to define problems ahead of the time and solve them in advance to push forward. There's just all sorts of amazing ways. You could even co-host a podcast if you have one. Again, I don't have one, but you could co-host one with AI. And that's what we're doing for this episode. So anyway, if I had a podcast today, I would have talked about how AI is helping me as a creator grow my business and work through issues and be authentically me using a tool that's available to all of us. But I don't have one, so I'm not talking about it. Thanks for watching. Hope that went well today.